welcome to 60 Minutes with PD. Another Saturday evening, your fastest moving 60 seconds of the day. Welcome, welcome, welcome to 60 Minutes with PD. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Yes, welcome, welcome. Lois, how are you? How are you, Gloria? How are you? How are you? How is it going? Welcome to 60 Minutes with PD. 60 Minutes with PD. Aha! Pinned. Rich man, how are you doing? Sandy Coco, how are you? Good to see you. Jeannie Campbell, how are you? Hi, how's it going? How's your weekend going? It's good to be back. Another 60 Minutes with PD. The topic is divorce. And, it's a heavy topic. We'll get into it, we'll get into it in all kind of ways. And I think at the end of the day, we'll know a whole lot more how to deal with divorce, how to get through, and how to keep moving forward. Okay, fantastic. Nenye Biora, how are you? How are we all doing today? So good to see us here. Welcome to 60 Minutes with PD, your fastest moving 60 minutes of the day. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. right here at PIIDI 19. Please follow me right now. It's never enough, but that's okay. I'll be back next week, Saturday. We have a guest in the studio today. Let's hear some noise from the guests. That's not enough noise. That's right. We have guests in the studio today, so this should be fun. Okay. So while I'm on, feel free to ask me any question on relationships, on marriage, on life. I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide you. Fantastic. So please follow me right here at PIIDII 19 and subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Please click on the subscribe button on my YouTube channel, like the video, and click on the bell for notifications. Let's do life together with wisdom. Get your friends to subscribe and follow too. Don't let them miss anything. Today's topic is divorce. This is not a popular topic, but it's a reality of life, so we have to discuss it, okay? Know how to discuss it, know how to avoid it. When it cannot be avoided, we need to know how to navigate through it, recover from it, and still live a full and productive life after. So strap up and let's take off. Again, this is 60 Minutes with PD. How are you, B-handles? Olatunji Jumi, how are you? It's so good to see you all on board. Wave, wave. Okay. Yes. First, I'm going to start with just before you, you need to divorce-proof your marriage, which is something that you do before. So I'm going to start with what you do before and how to avoid getting into that situation, and then we'll talk about dealing with it. So no one sets out to get divorced. It's never the desired destination. And that's true. Nobody ever sets out to get divorced. Now this is some stats that we need to know. 1 out of every 2 people that get married ends up in divorce. And this is not their desired destination. This is why everyone has to know that education and training and counseling on relationships and marriage is very important. I mean, the fact that the divorce rate is so high means that we are getting into marriages without knowing what we're getting into. We're dating without knowing what dating is about, because dating is to choose the right person. And if you're getting divorced, it means that you chose the wrong person. It means 1 out of 2 people choose the wrong person. So we've got to understand that dating should be taken a little bit more seriously than it's being taken right now, because the dating is the process of choosing. And if we're getting divorced at this rate, it means that we're choosing badly. So we need to start to understand and study how to choose the right person. Are we good? Okay. If you choose the right person for you, there will be no need to divorce them. Dating is the process of choosing the right person. We are doing very badly at dating. That's because people believe anybody can date. There's nothing to learn about dating. You just need to be a male or female and you'll date. But that's not really how it goes. We are seeing the result of that ideology right now. If you choose right, there will be no need for a divorce. Know that these are things that we have to know. You've got to know the red flags. Know the red flags. Know the behaviors that are detrimental to marriage. There are some kind of behavior that in a relationship it's okay, but in marriage it's not. We need to know these things. Know that marriage does not heal people. Too many times we know that this person, there's a lot wrong with them, but we think that when we get married to them, they'll change, they'll get healed, they'll get better. Marriages don't heal people. We need to know that. Any problem that you had before the marriage will be worse after the marriage. It's very important to know that after marriage, like when you see things, there are things that you see when you're dating, that the implications of those things that you see when you're dating is very bad. And I think I've spoken on this before, and I will speak on it in future. But we've got to know the implications of the things that we see, okay? I'll just, this is interesting. It might be cool to date a guy that's a gangster, okay? But it's hell to be married to a guy that's a gangster. So for you young ladies out there that like gangster type guys because it's fun, and it's exciting, but you marry a gangster and then you'll see what, So you got to know these things. When you're about to settle down, you've got to choose right and have the right values, okay? An angry person, can be hard to live with. Do not marry a person, and I say this all the time, and please, I need you to just listen. Do not marry a person that's unteachable, a person that's proud and opinionated. They think they know everything, and they have an opinion on everything, and they just don't allow any kind of input. That kind of person is dangerous to marry. Do not marry a person that no one can call to order. It blows my mind each time a lady calls me and says, I'm having this problem with my husband. I say, well, you need to call somebody that he listens to, that he respects, to speak to him. And she says that there's nobody. Now, let me tell you this. If you're seeing anybody that has nobody that can speak into their lives, nobody that they've submitted to, then do not marry them. Because I guarantee you it will be a problem. Am I talking to anybody? Okay, so we're talking about things to look out for so that, you don't get to that point that you're looking to get divorced again. Learn about narcissism. You see, and it's interesting how some people just have no idea what narcissism is. People think narcissism means that a guy, a person that likes himself a lot. That's not true. Narcissism is evil, and you want to know about it. And so when you encounter a person that's showing those traits, you can know quickly and run. Am I talking to anybody? How do you learn about narcissism, how to identify them, and stay away from them? You need to know the importance of God-fearing as a quality of a person you marry. I didn't say going to church, I said God-fearing. A person who has fear of God. It affects the action. Like I'll tell you this, and I'm not trying to be overly churchy. A person that does not fear God will do anything. They have no boundaries. They have nothing that's not doable. And that's not good in a marriage. A person that fears God, male or female, there's a limit to what they'll do. There are limits. They have boundaries, and it helps in marriage. It's a terrible thing to marry a person that has no boundaries, that can do just anything to you. I mean, that is like putting your life in the hands of somebody that could really, really hurt you. So let's know that God-fearing is good. And God-fearing does not mean that you're in church. There are a lot of people in church who are not God-fearing at all. So it's got to be a person who their actions, the fact that they fear God is reflected in what they do and what they say. And it's obvious. And then you know that this person fears God. I mean, so don't say because you met him in church, he's a church worker, so he's God-fearing. Nah, it doesn't work that way. Very good. So now this is how you divorce-proof your marriage before you get into it. The first thing you do is you and your fiancé, you both agree to find somebody that you both respect. Somebody who is wise and who understands love and knows about marriage. And you both agree before you get married that when we have problems in our marriage, we would go and see this person. And when we see this person, we will allow them to judge whatever issues that we bring to them. And when they judge it, we will abide by the judgment. We will abide by it. This person must not be a family member. And I'll tell you now, when you have issues in your marriage, the last people that you should take the issues to are your family members, either to his or hers. You just don't do it because it never pays off. So you've got to find somebody who's neutral, that you can take your issues to. So this is how you divorce proof your marriage, because people just don't wake up one day and say, I'm getting divorced. It's an issue that's been discovered by one party most of the time, and that party has come to a conclusion that this issue will not change. So it's something that they did not know before you got married. That's why before you get married, ask a lot of questions, poke nose in everything, look into everything. Because anytime two people decide to get divorced, it's because one person at least found out about something that they did not know about the person they're with. Either that he's mean, he cheats, he lies, or she cheats, she lies, or something. And then by the time they figure out that this person will not change, the next thing to do is, I want out. This person's the wrong person, and I want out. So you've just got to know. But before this happens, though, if you take it to this person that you have to judge the case, then this person can speak into it, and it most likely will not end up in a divorce. And to be quite frank, a lot of divorces don't have to happen if they got good counseling. And that's something we need to look at, because if you get good counseling, a lot of divorces don't need to happen. So did we just get that? So you've learned how to, the first step in divorce proofing your marriage is to have a person that you both have agreed to go to when things are going bad. Okay? So this person will have oversight over your marriage. You both agree to see him. The person will judge it. You both agree to do whatever the person says. The person will not be a family member. And then both of you should agree to regular counseling every 3 to 6 months. And like I'll tell you this, no matter how good a car is, it needs to be serviced. So even no matter how good you guys are enjoying your marriages, you still, the idea of if we're doing okay in a marriage, why are we getting counseling, is why people get in trouble. Because that's why when things start going bad, it gets to a point where it's really bad before you now call people in. And I'll tell you this about marriage. Marriage is very intimate, and offenses will come. Offenses will surely come. And if you're not good at letting things go, the offenses come, and then you hold them. And then from offenses, they become baggage. And then you hold more baggage, and then it becomes a mountain. And then the mountain is so big, and then both of you are on different sides of that mountain. You can't see yourselves, you can't hear yourselves. There's a disconnect, and then there's trouble. But if you got counseling in between, then somebody can speak into it, and things can get better. It will never get that bad. Am I talking to anybody? So, this is 60 Minutes with PD. Please follow me right here at PIIDII19 on Instagram, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel at PIIDII19 on YouTube. Let's do relationships together. Please put my contact form in my bio for confidential counseling. Please click the subscribe button on my YouTube channel, like the video, and click on the bell for notifications. Getting into marriage is relatively easy. And that's true. Getting married is easy. You find your pastor, do your counseling, and you just get married. But getting out of a marriage is not easy. And you go in from single, you become married, and you can never really come back out and become single again. By the time you come back out, it's not single. Okay? And the other part that we need to look at is this: nobody walks into you go into a marriage, you're all nice, looking nice and fresh. You don't jump out fresh. You never jump out fresh. Because whatever makes you get out of a marriage is something that you engaged, experienced, you attempt. There's always an attempt to make it work. And while you're trying to make it work, you're suffering, you're being abused, a lot of stuff is happening to you. And by the time you say, you know what, I can't take it again, I'm getting out, you've usually have suffered a certain amount of abuse or degradation of your self-worth and value. So let's be very careful about the people that we choose to live with for the rest of our lives, the people that we choose to marry. Let's take time. Let's get counseling. Let's have input into it. And one mentality that's got to change is people always try to keep the people that they're dating. And that's the wrong mentality. You must be ready to what's the word, just keep them moving, like disqualify people. The whole idea of getting the right person is that you must have the ability to disqualify enough wrong people to find the right person. If your mentality is like there are no good people out there and you're trying to hold on to who you have, you probably will end up with the wrong person. Okay, so Where was I? Yes, 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 yes. Most times, by the time a person gets out of a marriage, they are a shadow of who they were when they got married. Usually, their confidence is gone, self-worth is low, value is eroded, because their boundaries have been violated so many times from abuse. For some people, it's not so bad. The divorce could be from serial cheating or reasons other than abuse. When people say we grew apart, this is what really happened. One, they had refused to let stuff go, and now the stuff has become baggage, and the baggage has become a mountain, and that separated the two of them. So people say, you know what, we just grew apart. You did not have to grow apart. Growth can actually bring you together if you're counseled properly and you do the right things. Growth is a good thing. It's good to grow. But when you start to grow apart, that's a problem. And you need to stop it as soon as, it should just never start if you are being counseled properly. So that growing apart thing. Then the next thing is that people say, well, we got tired of doing love too. Now, the other problem that people have is sometimes love is a verb, it's something you do, but because for whatever reason, people get tired of doing love. And if you get tired of doing love, you will end up falling apart and separating. So don't get tired of doing love. If both parties will humble their hearts, and counseling can save these kinds of marriages. The decision to go for a divorce usually comes after the realization of two things. People decide to get divorced after two things that they realize. One, you know something about your spouse and your marriage that you did not know before you got married. Two, you realize that the things that you've noticed is not going to change. Divorce is never an easy decision to make, but there are circumstances that have no other recourse than divorce. Nobody likes divorce. Even God does not like divorce. But God does not require you to die in the hands of your spouse. Once you have come to the conclusion you are leaving, make adequate plans and leave. Now, the first thing you do is separate yourself from your spouse, not from your friends and family. Now, this is one big mistake that people make. When people are getting into divorce, what they do is, apart from separate themselves from their spouse, they start to withdraw from people. Most times you're thinking people are going to pity you or talk about you or something about that, and you start to pull away from people, but that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Because to be quite frank, what's going to sustain you after the divorce is your circle of close friends and family that understand you, that love you, that are there for you. You need a social support. You need support. And that's very important. So sometimes you are so upset with your ex that you want to leave town, you want to just go as far away from them as possible. That's really not a good idea, because your social support is where you used to be. Your family could be close by, your close friends should be there. If you go somewhere else where you're by yourself, you're setting yourself up to get depressed, get sad, and really grieve the marriage. So you want to make sure that you keep your friends close, and even though on your inside, you want to stay away from people. You don't want to talk to them. Make sure that you. And then what happens is this: when you pull away, then people that should have been your support actually now step back as well. And not because they're bad people, not because they weren't there for you, but because you were closed up. And it's very easy to get closed up when you get a divorce, because a lot is going on. Like very soon I'll talk about the emotions that's going through your mind. It's a lot of emotions, it's a lot going on, but be intentional to not disconnect from your close friends and family. Okay, separate yourselves from your spouse. Yes, not your spouse may get now the thing is this too. I always recommend that don't just get separated and just get divorced immediately and serve yourself papers. Get divorced and stay apart for a while. And the whole idea is that in this time that you're separated, hopefully both parties can recalibrate. One party or both could get an encounter with Jesus, or some kind of encounter that would change their mindset. Something can happen. So give yourselves the opportunity for something to happen that might bring you guys back together again. So that's a possibility. So just don't pack out today and serve the divorce papers tomorrow. Let's not do that. Are we good? Okay. Not all problematic marriages need to end up in divorce. I said that before. Get counseling. Divorce can be lonely. Okay? So be intentional not to isolate yourself. You may feel that people are pitying you and you start to not respond to some loved ones. Don't do that. Make sure you have a good network of friends and family around you. You need them. Self-isolation during a divorce or after is a symptom of depression. So watch out and don't fall into depression. Okay? This is 60 Minutes with PD. Please follow me right here at PIIDI19. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel at PIIDI19. Yes, let's do relationships together. Please fill my contact form in my bio for confidential counseling. And please click on the subscribe button on my YouTube channel, like the video, and click on the bell for notifications. Life after marriage. If you have been divorced, I want to tell you that you are not a failure. And I want anybody on the platform who's been divorced before, I want you to hear this, that you're not a failure. Your marriage could have failed, but you are not a failure. And there are so many aspects to your life that marriage is actually just one out of many, many things that you've been blessed at, that you've been successful at. So know this right now, that you are not, because the devil starts to speak it into your ears that you failed at something, and the devil tries to make it so big and so whatever. It's like God may not like divorce, but he loves people who are divorced. I'll say it one more time. God might not like divorce, but God really, really loves divorced people. Okay? And you are not a failure at all. Okay? Nobody fails in the school of life. You will get another opportunity. If you've been divorced, I want to tell you that God loves you very much. God is with you. God may not like divorce, but he loves people who are divorced for sure. Nobody plans to get divorced, and nobody likes being divorced. People leave their marriages sad, regretful, confused, hurt. These are the emotions that you're dealing with. So you've got to be intentional to get out of the sadness, intentional to get away from regret. You've got to not be confused and just make a plan and chart your way forward, and be intentional to get the love that you need to heal the hurt and the pain that you feel. It is very easy to get into a depression right after you leave a marriage, no matter how bad the marriage was. Be intentional to surround yourself with supportive friends and family that will encourage you. Divorce results in a roller coaster of emotions: anger, grief, because you actually grieve the loss of the marriage, sadness, depression, guilt. Sometimes, people feel guilty that, I had part of me was the cause of what happened. But know that it's not the end of the world. I'll say it again. Divorce is not the end of the world. Even if your marriage has failed, you have not failed. Don't run from the pain. Face it. Deal with it and get it behind you. You will need a strong support system of faithful, loving, and reliable family and friends. People that you can be open and vulnerable with, that will be encouraging and supportive. That's why I always tell people when I teach to never allow your spouse to disconnect you from your family or close friends. There are times when you get married to a person and they're trying to disconnect you from your family and close friends. Don't allow that, because if you had allowed that and then you walk away, you're already disconnected from family and close friends. Anybody that tries to disconnect you from your family, from your friends, and tries to not have you have an income, financial income, that person will, no matter how loving they are today, that person has the potential of being a bad abuser. So as a rule, don't do that. Have your own income. If they say that you shouldn't work, then they must give you enough money that's your own in your own bank account, so that if stuff happens, because one of the main things that you need, during the divorce is financing, because it's expensive. You've got to get your own place, you've got to move, you've got to start to pay your own bills. So there are a lot of people that remain in marriages that they shouldn't be, just because they can't afford to get out. It takes money to get out. So it's important that your finances are in place. Am I talking to anybody? Yes. Pay your bills. That's why, yes, I always advise that you have your money, no matter how loving, yes, he is. During a divorce, you need to be in a good place mentally. Like when you get into a divorce or right after, mentally, there's a lot going on in your head. The emotions are back and forth. The enemy is saying all sorts of negative things in your head. You've got to be very intentional about your mental state, where for every negative thing that you hear in your head, you respond with a positive word. Never let negative words in your head continue to flow, because it will take you down. So you've got to start to listen to the narrative that's going on in your head. And anything negative that your head is speaking to you, you speak against it. I am not a failure. This is not the end of my life. This had to happen, and it's okay. I am going to recover. There's life after this. I will just continue to respond to whatever negative thought is coming to your head. Did we get that? No matter how, yes, mentally, get professional counseling. And that's too. Many times people don't expect that if I get divorced, why am I getting counseling? But it's very important. Get counseling, get therapy. If you can't afford that, then get books, watch videos. Make sure that at that point in time, you need help. And if you can afford to get counseling, get professional counseling. Not necessarily the counseling, the regular counseling you'll get in a church, except the church has professional counseling. But get professional counseling, get therapy to keep your mind in the right place and get you out of it. Am I talking to anybody? If you can't afford, yes, get therapy, then buy the books, watch the videos, follow me online. There's a lot that I say and do that would keep you up and get you out, keep you moving forward. So just follow me online, or call me and get some counseling or therapy. Fantastic. Join a support group. There are support groups out there for singles, mothers, for divorced people, and these support groups are good. It's a place where there are other people going through what you're going through. You can exchange, views and everything. You can vent. And they understand because they're going through the same thing as well. So there are support groups. Some churches have support groups. If not, there are support groups. Just Google it. You'll find them. It's actually very valuable that you join a support group. It really will help. Okay. It's also a place to vent. Yes. Then it's interesting. When you get divorced, you never think about it. You never think that it's a time that you should make new friends. But it is. Because what happens is this. You've been married for a while. Most of your friends were friends that were friends of both of you when you were married, or just friends at that time. The friends that you make after you get out of the marriage are friends that accept you the way you are. They know you in this situation, and they're comfortable with you. So actually, it's a time to actually open yourself to make new friends. So be intentional about making new friends in this season. And it really helps because it takes your mind off a whole lot of things, and you're making new friends. I'm not saying get reckless and just go out there and paint town red. Don't do that. Because that's a distraction. Don't distract yourself from the pain. Face the pain, feel it, remember everything, and then you shut it down and move forward. Okay? So don't get into any kind of unhealthy distractions. Don't go out and binge drink and just go out and party hard. Let's not do that. Okay. It's also a time to be very prayerful, and that's true. God is able to comfort you and strengthen you and guide you. So if you're going through a divorce, it's a time to be very prayerful. Okay. I spoke about being financially independent is very good. While going through a divorce, one of the major things that gets attacked is your self-esteem. So you're probably asking yourself, was I not enough for this person? What did I not do well? What did I do enough? How did I fail? Will people look at me as a failure? The devil just uses this opportunity to attack your thought life. Make sure that you respond in a positive way to every question, to everything that the enemy speaks into your mind. You get that? You are successful in many areas of your life. It takes two to make a marriage work, and you played your part. If your partner did not play their part, then there was nothing you could have done. So part of your recovery is working on your self-esteem intentionally. Did we get this? So you pick up, and then in this time, pick up new hobbies, start new projects, get into personal growth programs. Because, and always think of every season has a positive. When you were married, you had a responsibility to which could have stopped you from doing many things. Now you're free. You don't have to ask anybody for permission. You can travel. You can do a new course. You can take a new degree. There's just stuff you can do in this season. Because in future, you're going to get busy again. So take advantage of this season. Every season of a person's life has its advantages. Once again, this is 60 Minutes with PD. Please follow me right here at PIJ19 on Instagram and on YouTube. Fill out my contact form in my bio for counseling. Do we have any questions on the platform? Any questions for me to respond to? Any questions at all? Any questions, people? I think I saw a question a few minutes ago. It has to be your decision and your partner's. Why not talk more to your family or a counselor like PD? Okay, this is good. This is good. Any more questions there? People are just quiet. Let's see. What's your advice to singles in order to avoid divorce? I think I said that. You can like always have a person in place that's speaking to you, and then do your dating properly. Because like the main reason why people get divorced is this person I'm with is the wrong person. And the process of choosing the right person is dating. And people just don't take dating seriously. People just think, you know what, if a guy sees a girl, just date, and then we just take it. Like there's no education involved. There's no, we're just going. And that's what the problem is, because it's a lot more than that. You really got to know how to date and date properly. I have a recording on dating. It's right there in my IGTV. It's right there on my YouTube. It's called Dating. I think it's called Dating. And it's all there. You need a profile. You need to know who you're looking for. You need to know what's important to you so that they have it. And you need to know what's important and what's not important. See, if two people have core values that are the same, the likelihood that their marriage will work is very high, because they've got even ground. They've got, familiar ground to work with, and it works. And they keep saying I'm too selective when I'm trying to find the right. No, there's nothing like being too selective. The idea, see, like you're looking for a pin in a haystack. So the idea is not to choose the first piece of straw that you see. The whole idea is to keep disqualifying all the straw that you see till you find the pin. See, any person that you struggle to disqualify, you've got to ask yourself again, well, could this be the guy? Do you get? But if you're just trying to qualify everybody that you see, you're going to qualify people that shouldn't qualify. So there's a mindset that's good for choosing the right person, and that mindset is quick to disqualify. And so you're not too choosy. You're doing the right thing. And I'll tell you this: I did a teaching, and it's true. You're better off single than getting married and getting divorced. Ask anybody that's divorced, and they'll tell you that they will have preferred if they had never married that person. There's somebody that comes out and says, well, I'm divorced now, but I'm happy for the experience. It was something that I needed. It never happens. So let's start to understand this. Okay, so after a divorce, you need to build your self-esteem back. You need to build your mind back up, no matter what it costs. Okay, and it's so important because most times when you come out of a divorce, especially when there was abuse involved, you're just not yourself. Your confidence is gone. Because an abuser violates your boundaries and grinds you down. So they've called you names. You've been abused. You need time to just clear all that out and just start to find yourself back again. Most people coming out of a rough marriage like that need time to find themselves, time to build themselves back up. And it's important. It's important. You need to have people around you that tell you that, you look good, your future is great, this is not a big thing, you're going to move forward, life will still, you are not a failure. And that idea that you failed at something, especially if you're a person who you've always been successful at many, many things, when you're in this season, it's hard to wrap your mind around. It's like, how did I fail at this thing? And then somehow the devil makes you think that your whole life is marriage. Marriage is important. I won't play it down, but it's not your whole life. Your life did not end. So there's still a lot more to do in life, even after a failed marriage. So I need you to know that. Fantastic. When you elevate, okay, so you need to build up your mind back up, no matter what it costs. You read, you listen to tapes, you watch videos, you get counseling, you get therapy, whatever you need to do to elevate your mindset. When you elevate your mindset, your outlook changes. And that's important because most times you come out, you've been beat down. So but when you elevate your mindset, your outlook changes. And that's very important. When your outlook changes, you see things differently, you do things differently, and you move forward. You're able to move forward. Your outlook is very, very important. So like when you have come out of a marriage, and you're starting to just look at everything negatively, feel like people are watching you, looking at you, they're talking about you, they're pitying you, and you don't want their pity, you don't want them to talk about you, you're avoiding people. That's because of how you perceive it. Because people aren't looking at you like that, they're not talking about you because they're busy, and they love you, they're not trying to push you down, but it's your perception. So you need to just take care of your mind and elevate your mind so your mindset, your perception changes. Do you just get that? And then, yes, your outlook changes, and a lot about your life changes as well. One thing that you want to do, which is interesting, is practice gratitude. Gratitude. Be grateful for everything that's working in your life. Do you get that? So even if your marriage failed, you start to look at what's working. And if you start to focus on and start to recognize all the things that are working in your life, you're just going to see that your mind lifts up. Your self-esteem comes up, everything just lifts because you're letting yourself realize that marriage is just one point, but there are like 100 points that concern your life, and you're doing pretty well at all the others. So like gratitude, just start to make a list of what's working. My kids are fine. I'm in good health. My career is going well. My finances are fine. I have a future. Just many different things. I'm doing this new thing I've just started. I got a promotion. So many things are working. I'm in my right mind. I'm finally out of this. This abuse has stopped. It's a blessing. So start to focus on your blessings and be grateful for them, and it helps you. Like, I'm trying to share things to do, practical things to do, to just get you in the right place, the place that you want to be in this season. So gratitude is good. Be grateful for everything that's working in your life. So even if your marriage failed, you intentionally focus on all that is working well and prospering in your life. You are not a failure. It's only your marriage that failed. By the time you have itemized the things that you are grateful for, it makes the pain less. Because somehow the devil in your mind is trying to just focus on the failure of the marriage and how, this thing has not worked and it involves you, but it's just a lie, okay? And so you start to see that actually a lot of things are working in your life. It changes the way you see things. It shifts your perspective. You are actually doing very well. God is with you. You get to see that God is with you by the time you know how many things are working in your life, and you're grateful for it. You have evidence in your life that God loves you. The failure of your marriage does not define you. I'll say that one more time. The failure of your marriage does not define you. And just know that it doesn't define you. So don't let it define you. So it doesn't define you. Fantastic. You should also change the narrative of what has happened to you. You are not a person that God... Now, listen very careful. You're not... And this is a narrative you must tell yourself, because your mind will tell you that, you're just a divorced person. But you are not a person that got divorced. You are a person that chose to break a cycle of abuse or dysfunction. So even your narrative to yourself is important, because if you say, well, they see me as a divorcee, if they see me as a failure, after a while your head is down, you're depressed. No. It's like I am proud of myself because I was courageous enough to take the bold steps to take myself and my kids out of this unhealthy environment. I was bold enough to stop this cycle of oppression and abuse. I was bold enough to just stop this before I bring children into this unhealthy environment. So I was bold enough. I took the bull by the horns and I did what I need to do, and I got out. So that's your narrative to yourself. And by the time you tell yourself that, your actions reflect that, your responses reflect that, and your life and your upbeat, because you're not seeing yourself as a failure. So I'm trying to just give us some practical points here. So you reframe your story in your mind. You just understand this. And it's important because you'll be surprised how your mind just turns on you and attempts to bring you down. Your mind, because quite frankly, on the outside, you're fine. You actually are in a better place. But your mind, and it's the devil will fight you in your mind. So be very cognizant of this. Okay? And this, yes, yes, yes. How are we doing? Fantastic. So, yes, you should also change that. Yes, you are a person that chose to break the cycle, a person that chose to get yourself and your children out of an unhealthy environment, reframe the story in your mind, and shift the power dynamics in your favor. Did you get that? You shift the power dynamics in your favor. I like that statement. You are not disadvantaged. The fact that you've been divorced does not make you disadvantaged at all. You have been courageous enough to get out of an oppressive and unhealthy environment. Choose to change your narrative. Your narrative is not that your marriage has failed and your life has ended. Your life doesn't end because you got divorced. No matter what your mind is telling you, your life has not ended. You have a future and you are still going to achieve amazing things, and God is still going to use you, and you're still going to be happy and have a family and children. And I speak that over you, so just receive it right now. Are we good? Yes, we are. Yes. Fantastic. So this is 60 minutes. Now, on your way to recovery after the divorce, think what were the things you had to put up with. Now, I want to explain this. 1 out of every 2 people that get married get divorced. Very bad. But more than 1 out of every 2 people that remarry after divorce get divorced. Divorce rate is 50% of first marriages. Divorce rate of second marriages is 60 to 75%. Now, this implies one thing. People are not taking any lessons away from them leaving their marriages. And they're going back in without having learned any lessons. Even if when you got divorced, it was not your fault at all. But at least you chose that person. And that was your fault. So you can never come out of a marriage and say, I had nothing to do with it. Even if the guy was, I keep saying guy. Even if the person was crazy. But guess what? You chose them. So if you've been divorced, know that the numbers aren't on your side. So you really have got to study dating, study relationships, study marriage, get counseling, get guidance before you go out again. Did you get this? Because the numbers say everything. This is what the numbers say. Did you just get that? Let me check real quick if I have any. Do I have any questions? I do have questions. It's so good to have a studio audience, you know? I'm not alone. Everybody say, I'm not alone. I am not alone. So I have somebody in the audience, you know, somebody precious in the audience that's sending me the questions. Okay, wow. And they keep saying, yes, that you're selective. No, you're not too selective. You're just doing good. You're just doing good. What's advice to singles in order to avoid divorce? I think I gave some advice already. Date properly. Choose well. So that way you end up with the right person. Does the pain of divorce really go away? It does. I'm telling you this, the pain goes away. A time will come where it will be like, somebody will have to remind you. Seriously, because the pain goes away. But I'll tell you this though, the pain doesn't just go away by the passage of time. People just think in time the pain will go, and that's not true. If you're not doing the right things in that time, the pain will linger and linger a long time. So in the time that passes after you have left the marriage, you have to do the things I've said. You've got to surround yourself with people, the right set of people. You've got to talk to yourself. Your self-talk after marriage is very important. What you allow yourself to accept from yourself. Because your mind will say, well, my life has ended and this hurts and I can never be perfect again. There's a flaw in my life that I am flawed. You know, it's like I'm just flawed. I can never be perfect. And that's a lie. That's a lie. You know, if this person doesn't come back and be the right person, then the right person will come. And the right person will make you forget everything that ever happened. You know, you'll be loved and really, really loved. Do you know what it is like to be loved unconditionally, intentionally, sacrificially? You know, it's an amazing thing. And that person will come into your life. And you know, you will forget everything. So truly, the pain goes away for sure. But like I said, it's like if you just sit down brooding and thinking about it and you isolate yourself or with people who are just criticizing you, the pain will go. So it depends on what you do. Come back and listen to this recording again and listen to the things I've spoken about and do them intentionally, consistently, and you'll be fine. Okay, how soon is it okay to start dating again? While dating too soon after a divorce makes you look bad. And that is true. To be quite frank, you've been, okay, but then sometimes there's a big difference in time between when you got separated and when you got divorced. So for example, if you are separated for like 2 years and then you got the divorce, I mean, you could start dating, that same day, even if not, you get my point. But the thing there is that when you separate yourself from this person that's not working, please try not to date for some time. Just chill, focus on yourself. Like sometimes dating at that time is a distraction. You're just trying to distract yourself from the pain and the hurt. And distractions never pay off. They just don't. So don't, any form, like drinking, partying, relationships, sex, whatever, these things can be distractions. You're trying to distract yourself from the pain. But don't do it because it's just going to make you feel worse. So, use this time to gather yourself together, get your mind together, start to build yourself up, build your self-esteem, and just give yourself time. Okay, give yourself time. And then, when it comes to a point where you see that, there's just no going forward anymore, and the divorce comes, then you can start dating. But don't pack out today, and then you date like tomorrow. I'll have to ask you, did you have your eyes on them before you packed out? And that would have been wrong, because maybe that was why your partner was not having it. So, let's not be like that. So that's a good question. Good question. I have one more question, right? How soon? Yes. And this one says, is it okay to marry again? Now, this is a big question. That where if you never do anything that your faith cannot carry. Listen to me carefully, because this is a big question. So if in your mind you believe that you shouldn't get married again, and then you marry, then it will bother you and it will be a sin. So don't do it. But if in your mind you understand that, at this point in time, the law that we're under is love. And under that law, God will not leave you the way you are. He would allow you to get married, and you have that faith and you do it, then do it. But do not do anything that your faith cannot carry. That's so important. So start to check yourself and figure out that, where do I stand, and what's my belief? What do I believe? And what can my faith carry? And if your faith says, once you marry, that's it, then you stay. So I bounce that back to you. So what do you think? Very good. We're almost done. Okay, so where was I? So divorce rates, I spoke about that if we're saying yes, one person, yes, I did. I'm practically done, pragmatic, mature, educate. Yes, it is very rare that only one person was responsible for all the problems in the marriage. Even if your spouse was immature and problematic, there are mature and educated ways that it could have been dealt with. So you need to learn these things. If you have been divorced, don't just remarry without getting fully educated and counseled. Did you just get that? So like just never just go back in and then get divorced twice. It doesn't have to happen. There's so many things to have learned. So I'm done. So people, talk to me. Any questions? Anything we need to talk about before we are done? Yes. Any questions regarding divorces? Questions, guys? I'm about to be out. If there are no questions, guys, you're quiet today. It's not supposed to be, anything. People, talk to me. Let's talk about. Let me see. Somebody here wants to come on. Oh, okay, I have questions. What if the people around you just want to judge you and not support you? Now, I have a question here that says, what if the people around you just want to judge you? Like you must be very intentional during a divorce and after about the people that you surround yourself with. Very, very. If you allow the wrong people come around you, they can practically push you into a depression. So you don't want that at all. Your ears should be open. Once a person's conversation starts to go in a negative, judgmental kind of manner, no matter who they are, you want to just get away from them. So don't allow it, because the damage, things you hear can affect you for a long time, and it's hard to get it out. So you're better off not hearing it at all. Did you just get that? So once you see that people want to start saying things negatively, just get away from them no matter who they are. Is it abnormal to get a divorce in 4 to 6 months? Also, is it weird if you don't have any negative effects? Okay, which means like you're out of it and there are no negative effects. I mean, there will still be some negative effects. Maybe you're just not recognizing them as, okay, not negative, but there'll be some certain, it's like this. If you were able to get out before the abuse got bad, then there's not a lot to shake off. And then sometimes you could get divorced, sometimes there could actually be no abuse at all, but that you guys just got to a point where you realize that we can't do life together forever. And it's time we just can't, And if there was no abuse, then it's not so bad. That sense of I feel that something is still there to some degree, but it's not bad like a person who's been really abused, because then you're bruised. There's just so much that needs to be healed and done. So it's possible. So it's not abnormal. It's possible to come out of a marriage and not be beat down. So I hope that we get that. Those are 2 good questions. Very good, very good, very good. Any other questions? And let me see. Some people want to come on. Invite. Judy, do you really want to come on? Judy's going to ask me some tough questions. Judy, if you want to come on, tell me you want to come on. Say yes somewhere. So if I hear a yes, I'll bring you on. If not, who else? Invite Amma Pricey or Rihanna Purity. Let me try Rihanna Purity and see if we can have somebody on. Somebody wants to come on and maybe ask a question. Let's see. Judy, are you coming on? She says, okay. Okay. If this person doesn't come on, then I'll talk to Judy. Baba, it says okay to divorce when no abuse. All right. Abuse, like I tell you this. If abuse is constant, God will never force you to stay with a person that is abusing you to the point where just abuse you to the point where your life is like not the same. That's wickedness, and we serve a good God. Okay. And of course, the case of serious infidelity, of course, that as well. Well, I haven't seen this person. Let me get Judy. Judy, where are you? But Judy's gonna ask me some questions. I just know Judy's just gonna. Judy, be nice to me. Be nice to me, Judy.
Good evening.
Okay. Hi, Judy.
Okay, so let me start off with an easy question. How soon is it okay to remarry?
I answered that question. I said to remarry, give yourself time. Don't rush. Don't rush. And my time frame is from separation. Okay. Because once because it's possible for you to have been separated for like 2 years, okay, which is a long time. And then if divorce papers come today, then you can actually start dating tomorrow, to be quite frank, because you've been away for 3 years, for 2 years. But for separation wise, I would say like 6 months to a year. Okay. Where I really encourage people to give both of you a chance to sober down, to let stuff happen. Stuff can happen that can bring you back. And because that's like when people separate and get divorced, for me, the first choice is a reconciliation. Okay. Before we can say, okay, let's just disconnect. So yeah, so give yourself that opportunity. Okay. Very good, Judy. That's a good question.
And I would ask, so what advice do you have for, say, for example, a single person that meets someone that's been divorced? Like, what advice would you give them about going into that relationship?
Okay. Now, the person's been divorced before. One, I want to know why they got divorced. Okay. I want to know. I'm not just from them, because every story has 2 sides. I would love to meet a friend of the family that could kind of, who knew what was really going on. So I'll know. And then I'd like to know what they've learned from the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know if they still hurt. Because sometimes people are wounded in a divorce.
Yeah.
And if they're not completely healed, they'll bring it into the next marriage. And the little small thing you do will remind them of something that was done before. And their response will be out of proportion to what you did, because they're carrying baggage. So it's very important to really make sure that they're healed. If they hate their former spouse, that's a bad spouse. That's a bad sign.
Okay.
If they like talk down about their ex, it's not a good sign. It means that there's some hurt going on. There's something going on that shouldn't be. If they're able to say, actually they weren't bad, they tried, they can still show you like the good parts of their exes. That's a good sign. That's coming from a heart that's healed and that's come to terms with everything. So do enough, do some due diligence, and then it's okay.
Mm-hmm. I think some people are asking here, what if there wasn't really any abuse, or there wasn't anything like so terrible? Is it still okay to get a divorce if maybe you just feel you and your spouse are not compatible?
Now, you should get counseling, because I'll tell you one thing about this compatibility thing. To be quite frank, I believe that arranged marriages can work if both parties understand what love is. I mean, love is a verb. It's a verb. It's not a feeling. So if this idea of compatibility comes from this idea where I just don't feel love towards this person, so we're not compatible. But if I know that love is a verb, and you know that love is a verb, and you do love to me, and I do love to you, it will work and the feelings will come. Because there's no, I see you in the morning, I compliment you, you look good, you look nice, I ask you to eat in, I help you, I do everything, I'm nice to you, I don't take offense from you, I forgive you, I do the same thing to me, we will live happily ever after. Do you get that?
Yes, yeah.
Right. But it takes maturity, being mature, and knowing what love is. Most people don't know what love is. And if you don't know what love is, you can't do love. And love is what makes marriages work out.
Okay.
And now, in the case where there was no abuse, you need counseling. Most times people haven't gotten all the help that's available before they say, I can't do this anymore. So let's look into that. I mean, I'm not saying you can't still get out of a marriage, because there's some people who will not abuse you openly, but there are things that they'll do that you just can't live with them. And then there are all sorts of, see, people think abuse means physical. Most people are mentally abused, emotionally abused, and they say, I was abused, he never raised his hand at me. I mean, you've been abused seriously.
Yeah.
Because like a guy can a person, I always keep saying like guys forgive me. A woman can, can abuse a person emotionally to the point where when you get out of it, you're just not the same. You're just completely messed up.
And people that say they stay in relationships for their children, for example, do you think it's better, or it can be better for children to grow up in two separate homes, or that's happy, or it's better to is it better to stay together for children?
Now, if you're staying together for the children, then obviously, there's no fighting going on, and there's no beating and cursing. Because if you stay for the children and there's fighting and there's beating and everything, that exposure in itself is detrimental to the children. They're actually better off with a peaceful daddy by himself and a peaceful mommy by herself, who meet from time to time, and they're both playing their parts there, than having daddy and mommy together and they are seeing the beating, the crying, the pain. It leaves damage. It leaves really, really deep damage in the kids.
Okay, so last question. We have 1 more minute. And what advice would you give people that are going through a divorce, or they've gone through it? How do they explain it to their children? So what advice would you give for them to talk about this, especially with younger children?
With younger children, I mean, like it's a simple, now, okay, that this is really good. Never talk down your ex to your children. no matter how bad they were to you, never, because they're their father or mother. And when you badmouth them and you talk bad and then you use the kids as pawns, it affects them. The kids feel rejected, they feel abandoned, and in years to come, they're gonna have to look for people like me to counsel them. I counsel a lot of people that what's manifesting now are wounds that happened when they were young, and from things like this, when stuff happened, and parents have a way of using the kids as pawns, and they start to no matter how bad your ex is or was, never start to tell that to the child. Like your dad is a good man, it just didn't work out, and now he's over here. And you know, or your mom, she's a wonderful person. You know, I wish it worked, but it just didn't. You know, and she's there right now. But don't talk bad, don't talk down your exes to your children. You are damaging them. Don't do that.
Okay.
Are we good? I hear my cue. It's time to go. People, I love you, and it's time. So Judy, love you, love you, love you. You know, pay me a visit. Let's see, Judy. Don't be a stranger. Okay, people. Bye, bye, bye. Have an amazing, amazing time, people.